March 2003, I left the country, and then my father that time was fine. He was healthy, he was okay. Uh, but December 2003, almost Christmas, uh, my sister-in-law called and said, "You have to come back to Manila, uh, come back to Philippines because uh, your father was in the hospital, and the doctor released him from the hospital saying that he has only a few months to live." So immediately I booked a flight and I went to the province, to Quezon province, came to Philippines to see my father because sabi nila may tanin ang buhay niya. But luckily when I came, and then I have a brother also. By the way, we were three in the family, we were three brothers. I have one brother who is currently working in Italy, and I am second in the family. The youngest is in Italy, and then the eldest is in Quezon province right now. He's the one who's staying with my mother and father that time. So I came to Philippines just to see my father, who is like struggling for his life that time because of heart disease, heart bypass. But he became better, I think, because he saw us. We were complete that time. So I was only given 2 weeks leave from work. Because in the company, like, you're allowed like maximum of 1 month. But that time, because I was just new in the company, so I was given like 2 weeks. Then I came back to Dubai after 2 weeks because my dad was okay. But at the back of my mind, I was thinking that anytime he may be taken. It was difficult, another difficulty for me because again, I was still alone, away from the family, and thinking that my father is also like, life is short. So I came back at the end of 2003, December 2003. Came back to Dubai and worked again. It was tough working, and you're thinking of the family. Then the sad part was he died May 2004. And why it was sad? It's mixed because he died. And the second part was that he died that I could not go to Philippines because financially it was already difficult, because I came to Philippines in December. I spent some money, and then to support the bills also. Plus, a month before that he died, I already invited my wife and daughter to come to Dubai. So they were just new in Dubai. So they came to Dubai April 2004 because I said it would be difficult for me to work here. Otherwise, I will not be able to continue working. So they came to Dubai April 2004. And then after a month that they came, my father died. So it was tough for me because financially, how will I go back to Philippines? I already spent some money. I had even loans. It will be difficult for me to go. So I talked to my mother and then my family, my brothers. Then I said, instead of me spending my money buying my ticket, I'll just send this money for you to spend for the burial and all. So it was a tough decision that until now I am even regretting it, that I was not able to see him during the burial and the way. So I am still regretting it that bakit di ako umuwi that time. So hanggang ngayon, parang kung babalikan ko, I would like, if given a choice, I will just like borrow money and then come here. But anyway, tapos na yun. So although pinagsisisihan ko, but naintindihan naman ang family ko, even my mother. They understood that it's okay because yun na, financially mahirap, marami na akong gastos. So, yun yung other challenge ko. But that time, nandun na yung wife and daughter ko. So, malungkot yun, but eventually naka-adjust naman ako. And then, nandun na sila kasama ko yung wife and daughter ko. Doon na nagsimula ang daughter ko ng grade school, from grade 1. And then, I was working in the same company, but still it was difficult. The challenges are still there because adjusting to a different environment with family. But as time goes on, we enjoyed it because my daughter started schooling, and then we gained friends. We have some friends in the community, and then that's what I learned, that it is essential when you're abroad. You have to be in touch with the community, with Filipino community, or even other nationalities. You have to gain friends, otherwise it will be difficult to be alone. So from that time, I became successful, but what happened was I was not progressing in my career in that company, in the first company that I worked with. There was no promotion. I was still in the same position as internal auditor. So after 4 years, I eventually resigned and transferred to another company. So the second company I worked with is a diversified company. The first company I worked with in Dubai was a retail company, into retail business. Then the second company is a diversified company wherein they were involved in various industries like food manufacturing, construction, properties, real estate, retail, printing and publishing. So it's a diversified company. So I learned a lot from that company, from that experience. And then I rose from the rank of internal auditor, and then senior internal auditor, then assistant manager. Then I considered it as one of my achievements from internal auditor, and then eventually I became internal audit manager. So working abroad and then having that position is really, I can consider one of my achievements, because it is a tough environment there. You are dealing with other nationalities. There are, aside from Filipinos, there are other nationalities like Indians, Pakistanis, Sri Lankans, there are Europeans, there are British, there are also Americans, and then of course there are Arabic people. So it's a competition, and then eventually I was promoted as internal audit manager. That was, I think, the highlight of my career. Then I said everything was working well. So I have the success in life already, I can consider, because I am able to support my family, even back home. I am supporting my mother. So everything was working well. Then we said that, but our objective was really like, we will not be able to stay here for long. Eventually we will still need to go back to Philippines. Because my daughter that time was starting to from grade 10 to 11. Grade 10 is the graduation for junior high school, but because of the new curriculum now, KG, like KG 1 to 12, so K to 12, so there was an additional 2 years. So that time, we were fine, we were okay, but I said, and then we have planned it with my wife and daughter, that eventually when you're in college, you have to go back to Philippines, you have to study there. Because another reason is that it is expensive to afford the education there, college education. So that time we were not yet decided whether I will still work there or I have to come back here. Initially we decided that my wife and my daughter will come here, and then I will be working alone there. I said that time I can manage to be alone. So everything was fine. It was all said that they will come here, and then I will continue there and work, because of course the salary package is good. I have to continue working there. But another turning point in my life in Dubai started in January 2016. So in the start I I told you a while ago that there are two places that I hate right now. One is airport, because of that experience of leaving your family. Uh, and the second is the mall. So why the mall? In January 2016, it was just normal life. Everything was working well. It was a normal life. One time I was with my family. We had a family dinner in the mall, and after the dinner, we will just walking and roaming in the mall. But suddenly, I felt like dizzy, and I felt that something was wrong with me. And then I started like I was almost like losing consciousness. I didn't know why, and then my heart started palpitating. So I felt that I was having a heart attack that time, but I didn't see it coming. I didn't know why. All of a sudden, I was just like about to lose consciousness. So I saw my wife crying because I said I have to save. Then people helped me to save, and then they called the security, the emergency. Luckily, in Dubai, in Italy, we are fortunate that the emergency there is fast. So people are helping, strangers are helping. They asked me to save. They gave me water, and I think I was about to lose my consciousness, and then I was having a heart attack. Then I was rushed to the hospital. Uh, there, Luckily, there was a hospital nearby. I was rushed, and then I was admitted, and then tests were done. Then they said, you have, eventually they said that you are suffering from like high blood, from fatigue, and then further test, they said that I have gastroesophagus reflux syndrome, called GERD. It's like acidity. So in simple term, it is heartburn. But that time it was severe. So they said it was a combination of heartburn, and it was a combination of like high blood and the cholesterol. So all the tests, like, it was all negative. And then it hit me that why it happened to me. Before I didn't like feel it. It was just sometimes a normal sickness. From time to time I'll be sick, but I was rushed to the emergency, and then they released me after some time that you have to take this medicine, you have to take a leave. Then I went home. Then I tried to go back to work. After a few days, then I was back to work. Then I said, I'm okay, I'm fine, I have the medicines. But from that time, from January until like May, every month I was being rushed to the emergency. So, and then sometimes I'm at home, I'll just feel that something is bothering me. I'm having palpitation, my blood pressure was high, blood pressure reaching from like 180 over 140, 160 over 140. So I was asking myself, like, why is it happening to me? Is it because like maybe I inherited it from my father, or it's just maybe because of the way of living there? So maybe I did not take care of myself, and I concentrated on the work. So almost every month I was being rushed to the hospital. I think like three or four times in the emergency, and then on and off in the clinic for checkup, in the hospital for checkup. So it was that period from January to May 2016 was such a challenge for me, emotionally, physically, because I was sick. So then I told my wife that, okay, because that time my daughter has to start the school here. at the Rizal University. It was June 2016. So I told that you can go ahead, I will stay here, I will assess myself if I can. If not, then I will also leave, I will resign. So I was still like about to decide 50-50 whether I will continue there or I will come back home. Because one hesitation was that when I decide to come to Philippines, what will I do there? Shall I work? Shall I go into business? So I was not sure. So I told my wife that you can go ahead, go to Philippines, and then I will stay. So I stayed for another like 1 month, but eventually I assessed myself that really I cannot continue. Again, I came back to year 2003 that I felt homesickness. I was away from the family. Then I already resigned. I did all the formalities. I was enjoying my work there because my colleagues were great. I had friends there in the company. So we were a team. There were some Filipinos, but there are also other nationalities. Then eventually I said, let me go to Philippines because I cannot continue here. So I already resigned, and then I did all the formalities of this resignation, and arranged my things already. So I was about to leave. So I resigned from the company. I booked my ticket. So one day before my flight, I was about to travel the next day. Again, I was walking to the mall to buy some pasalubong. So to buy some things for myself, for my family, for friends, for relatives. So I was walking in the mall again. And I didn't know, it happened again that I was walking, and then I suddenly felt that I was about to lose consciousness again. So my heart was beating fast again, palpitation, and then I was feeling dizzy. So, and then it was a day before I have to travel. So, in short, I was rushed to the hospital. It was my first time to be in an ambulance. I'm also always grateful that I can see that by nature people are good. Regardless of nationalities, people are helping. There are many people who helped me in the mall. I didn't even know how I reached the ambulance, from the ambulance to the hospital. There were strangers who helped me. So I was, even up to now, I am regretting that I didn't took their names. I would like to thank them even until now. So I was rushed to the hospital again in an ambulance. It was my first time in an ambulance. And I was about to travel the next day. Then I started to get depressed. I said, like, I have to go to Philippines, and now here I am again in the hospital. And like, I could not count anymore how many times I was in the hospital. I already like hated seeing doctors, doing all the tests, blood tests. I was released that same night, and then they were saying that it is because of your high blood, it is because of your gear, your heartburn, your acidity. You have to learn to relax. You have to relax. You should not live with stress. I'm asking myself, am I stressed? Maybe because I was thinking of so many things. Because I think the future can be uncertain, like what will I do in Philippines? Maybe I was thinking too much. That's why I could not relax. So again, I was in the hospital. So I was released. Then I rebooked my flight. I said I will fly to Philippines the next week. I have to rest first. So I rested. My flight, I rescheduled it to next week, exactly 1 week. Then I said I will be okay. I will be fine. I will be going to Philippines. But again, like 3 days before my trip, it happened again. I didn't really know why. I already like hated the doctors. Like they are giving me medicines, but why am I'm not getting cured? Hindi ako gumagaling. So again, 3 days before my trip, it is already a scheduled trip. Again, I was back in the hospital. Right now, I could not even really count how many times I was in the hospital, how many times I have seen the doctor. So 3 days before my trip, I could not make it to the trip. I said, I think I don't know what is happening to me. Is it because that I will die here? That thought came into my mind already. Then I said, no, if I will die, I should not die here. I said, I would like to die in Philippines. So what I did so that I can travel, the time that I was released from the hospital, I booked my flight that it is closed from my release. From the hospital, I just took my bag from home. That time I was already staying in the hotel because I already turned over my home, my house, the accommodation. So from the hospital, I just took my bag from the hotel and I went straight to the airport. I said, I have to make it, even if I'm not feeling well, the time I was really not feeling well. So the doctor gave me one medicine just for me to sleep in the flight. Because the releasing doctor, the one who released me, I told him, the doctor, from here I have to go to the hospital. Can you give me a medicine where I can make it to the airport and where I can make it back home? So he gave me one medicine. It's antidepressant. Here it is called Valium. It's antidepressant. It's for you to sleep. So I took that medicine from the hotel and then I went straight to the airport. I took the medicine, and because of that medicine, I was just sleeping in the flight. When I woke up, I was in Manila. So I was very happy that time I reached Manila. I made it alive. So I thought that I'll be okay. I am in Manila. I'm at home. Everything will be fine. To realize that it was not, because the first month that I was here, it was still like the same. What I was feeling there, it was the same. So here I consulted doctors. Then they were all already saying the same thing, that you are just stressed. Try to relax, and then your sickness will be gone. So I rested for 2 months. I came to Philippines July 2016. So August and September I just rested. But to tell you honestly, I was so sick. I was just at home. Even I cannot cross the street. I cannot go around the building. Sometimes my wife would like to invite me, let's go to the mall. I refused because I had a phobia already with the mall. One time he forced me to go to the mall. Let's go to a grocery. So I agreed. Let's eat. I agreed. But I don't know. Whenever I'm entering the mall, my knees are shaking. I could not make it. I could not even enter. So then that's the time that I started reading. I watched videos. I started reading about Bo Sanchez. I started reading about Father Jerry Orbos. So he has a column in Inquirer where I almost like always try to make it a point to read his columns. I was like inspired by his columns. It's all about God. It's all about faith. One time he had written there about letting go, let go and let God. It's like letting go and letting God. So surrender it to God. So I could not even go to the church. I was so weak. Sometimes I was asking my friend who was a car to take me from home to church. I could not eat. I lost 10 kilos. I was so weak. That time I don't know what will happen to me. Like maybe it also added to my depression. That how will I support my family? And I'm in this condition. My wife kept on encouraging me. My mother used to encourage me also that you have to fight. You have to go on. You have to move. to move. And then I believe in that what Father Jerry always said, let go and let God. So I surrendered it to him, and then I started reading about Bo Sanchez. Also, I watched his videos about the feast. I am not attending the feast like proper, but I watch videos. Then July and August I was just resting up to September. And then September I said to myself that I have to work. I started applying, I started looking for job. I realized that it was difficult. I sent applications. There were responses, but sometimes I get calls. But it ended at that point. It's just like phone interviews. Then I remembered about Neil that time. I sent him a message that Neil, I am here in Philippines. Can you help me like find a job? I asked for help from Neil. That time I was thinking like I was asking him if he can refer me to his clients, to his contacts. I was not thinking of working here. Then Bill said, yes, I will help you. Give me your resume. I will give it to my friends, to my colleagues, to my contacts. I will help you. Then from that time, I started to have like second thoughts again, and then depression. I'm not getting the job. Neil became silent. So, and then it was October when I sent communication to Neil. Then I sent my resume in October. November came. I was already losing hope. Can I work or shall I start my business? But what business? Shall I open my own firm, my own like accountancy practice? But it will take time because you need accreditation, you need to go for training. So November, I was already like losing hope, and again. I was feeling weak, and then I started to feel again the sickness, the heart palpitation, the acidity, the heartburn. The November, first week of November, I read one article by Bo Sanchez, and even I wrote it here. It was exactly the same day that I wrote it. It was November 5 to 2016. There was a quotation. This was my exact handwriting during that time. I wrote it in this book. I read it like he said, God uses detours as doorways to your destiny. So there will be always detours in life, but maybe that is God's sign for you to live to your destiny. So it hit me, this quotation hit me that maybe this is just my detour. Maybe this is one way of God saying to me that I have to continue, I have to fight. And then also he mentioned there, the greater the pullback, the greater the comeback. Because there was one video about like, he was showing a slingshot, yung slingshot, and it was Tagalog yun. Tirador, yes. That, if you notice a slingshot, like you have to pull it back. You have to pull it back for you to hit the object hardly. So the greater the pullback, the greater the comeback. So maybe it is just by way of pulling back, but eventually I will have my comeback. Mayroon nga isang quotation yung isang Chinese philosopher, si Sun Tzu. Sabi niya, one step backwards, but two steps forward. So one step backward, but two steps forward. So I'm just stepping once. This is one step backwards. But after some time, I will have my two steps. I will again be successful. I will again strive. I will again go back to my ways, my old ways. So again, another quote by J.C. Libiran. He said that God is redirecting you to where He wants you to be. So from that time, I said like, okay, this is my redirection. This is my pullback. Maybe this is God's way for redirecting me. So I promised myself that time I had so many job applications. I promised that whoever will hire me first, I think that will be God's sign that I will stay in the company. I think that will be my pride.